Hey everybody, it's Prince's friend. I don't know if you were able to check out the flash sale that the Prince estate had, but I was, and I actually got a cool parade cover t-shirt, which is probably one of my favorite t-shirts right now. It's one of those kind of t-shirts that I can't do on my Redbubble store because I can't use his likeness and stuff directly, but they can, and it's really, really nice. But enough about my shirt. I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about my philosophy on music itself. I see other channels out there, and they do reviews, and they're mostly reviewing newer music that's coming out right now, and that's awesome. And whenever they do an older album, they call it a throwback review. And I don't know, maybe it's because of my sensibilities of listening to Prince and, absorbing the message of music from him. But I don't think that there is such a thing as a throwback, or as retro, or anything like that. Prince was making music all the way up until he passed away in 2016. And if you listen to a song in 2016 of his, and you compare it to one from the early 80s of his, there's going to be very little difference there. They're both still funky. They both make you want to groove. They both have the same lyrical content. There's very little difference because Prince's music was timeless. That's actually one of the coolest things about being a Prince friend, is that you can throw on any album and it all sounds like now. Yes, the 80s ones maybe has a little bit more keyboards. The 90s ones has more aggressive kind of rap to it. The 2010s are much more blues and funk oriented. But Prince had already implemented all of that into his music anyway. And he mixed and he matched, and it was kind of all over the place, and that's the beauty of his music. But the way that I view it is that every artist is creating their art, and you need to go through it all, and you need to take that journey with them in order to understand that particular artist. I don't think that I would have the same appreciation for Prince had I just picked and choosed and purchased one album there, one album here. I started at the beginning and I went to the end. And that's actually one of the reasons why this year I'm going to be focusing on doing a lot of first albums from some other artists where we'll be able to start that musical journey, because I think that's what's super important, because you'll see some artists will actually stay the same through most of their albums. Other artists will change drastically from album to album, but that's not a good thing or a bad thing. If I go back to 1983 and I review someone's first album, that's not a throwback. That music's new. That music's new to me. I'm enjoying it for the first time. There's no such thing as a throwback album or album review. Prince talked a lot about time, and I think that it had a lot to do with his relation to music. There's music today that sounds like old stuff. There's music in the old stuff that sounds like today. Everything is cyclical. There's no such thing as time when it comes to music. Music is forever. Music will last. There's no such thing as good and bad music. It's all perspective. These are all things that are important when you are kind of looking at music through the lens of a Prince friend. We work differently. We're differently minded. I can throw on an old record and enjoy it just as much as a new record. There's no such thing as the old stuff was the good stuff and the new stuff sucks. No, it's all beautiful, and there's so much great stuff out there. So this was a little bit of a rant, and I apologize for that. But I thought it was really good to establish up front the direction that I'm coming at these reviews, and you'll notice this when I go back to old reviews. Sometimes I'll say, like, these have a real 80s vibe, or this sounds like the 90s, or this has a 70s vibe, and that's cool. There's Childish Gambino. He just released an album a couple of years ago that sounded a lot like some of the music that was from the 60s and 70s, but it was all brand new and it was updated and he had his own spin on it and it was part of his artistry. And that's just one example. So hopefully you'll keep that in mind as we go through the reviews that we have for this year. Some of them old, some of them new, but they're all music and they're all beautiful. Thank you for checking us out today, and may you live to see the dawn. And if you like that video, don't forget to hit that little subscribe button down there. It's right in the corner. And also, there's other videos below me. Definitely check those out. Also, follow us on social media, and you can support the channel by visiting our Patreon or our Redbubble merch store. See you next time.